We meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body and then return it safely to Earth. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
Console, and over here we have the voice capsule command. Oh, and check this out. Over here, we have a mission event proto guidance type thing, right? And it has an...
Excuse me. Let me introduce myself. My name is Don Arabian, and I used to work here back then. And the console is actually called a system monitoring console.
Oh, great, Don. I'm Robin, and perhaps you can tell us where that big red blast-off button is.
Well, it wasn't here. The launch was actually handled in the blockhouse right next to the pad.
So, what didn't go on in this room?
Data. During the mission control, we took the spacecraft data, we processed it, brought it down, and displayed it on these panels. For example, we had velocity, altitude, and thrust findings.
Two independent systems were monitored at Mercury Mission Control. The first was fairly basic, the capsule and its flight plan. The second was much more complex, the human being in the capsule. Putting an astronaut into space meant bringing that astronaut back safely to Earth. This was the #1 priority.
So, the big question was, what happens to the body in orbit? Would you care to demonstrate, Margaret?
Sure.
Okay, do me some jumping jacks.
Jumping jacks, all right.
Now, the body works very well here on Earth with gravity, but once you get up in space, things start to happen. Muscles get weak, you lose bone marrow, and you get sick. See, that's what happens. When you don't have any gravity, you can't do jumping jacks, nor can you fall down.
While most of these machines monitored the spacecraft, the rest were dedicated to the astronaut, monitoring heartbeat, breathing, brainwaves, body temperature, and pulse points all over their bodies.
What you were able to do with these machines is just incredible. But what you haven't mentioned is my favorite mission control thing, the big board. Is this all you had to track the Mercury capsule?
Yep, tracking the Mercury capsule.
Cell phones, we do ask you to shut them off. In the VAV, we've snatched a pair of boosters. They hold 1 million pounds of solid fuel. Cell phones work on radio waves, and so please make sure you shut off all cell phones. And everybody always asks us how long is the tour. So as long as you want to make it. We have no time limits out here, and you've got 3 different stops to go to. You can spend as long as you like at each stop, and whenever you're ready, you just get the different bus going from one stop to the next. Our buses come through every 10 or 15 minutes, so never worry about it. And also, I always tell everybody, if you lose your wife, your husband, as well as the tour route folks, don't worry about them. Any luck, we might get you another one. The lady asked me earlier if that's a promise.
I'm the director of Shuttle processing here at Kennedy Space Center. Our mission really begins with the landing of the space shuttle.
We're on the bus for the tour.
We get the crew and some time-critical science out. And once we are ready, we tow that orbiter over into one of the 3 orbiter processing facilities where we'll spend the next 90 days of its life being prepared for the next mission. While the orbiter is being prepared here in the orbiter processing facility, there's a great deal of other work going on. The crawler transporter will carry a mobile launch platform into the vehicle assembly building and set it down, ready to receive the stack. The orbiter is going to spend approximately 30 days at the launch pad prior to launch. At the end of those 30 days, we actually start the final process of counting down, which takes about 3 days. About 12 hours before launch, we do final servicing of the external tank. Just a couple hours before launch, the astronauts are taken out and they're assisted to get into the space shuttle vehicle in preparation for launch. The door to the orbiter is closed, the orbiter access arm is retracted, all personnel are off the pad. Everything continues to go as expected. We get down to the 31 seconds point, and that's when the computers actually take over, because we're now going to be processing faster than a human being can really follow. And if everything still looks good at T0, the signals are sent, the hold down post explosive nuts are blown apart, releasing the solid rocket boosters, and we have 7 million pounds of thrust to start the trip into orbit.
Ignition and liftoff of Discovery with a crew of 6 astronaut heroes and 1 American legend.
North, south, east, or west.
and 50 thousandths of an inch up or down, and do that consistently. We hook up this crane and then a smaller crane, the 175-ton crane, to the orbiter. And we take it from horizontal to vertical. And then we pick it up 16 stories.
Now the orbiter processing buildings they talk about are straight over there to the left. Hangar 1 over there is where Atlantis is located right now. Endeavor's over in Hangar 2. Discovery's on the pad, getting ready for its launch. And Discovery's carrying up the last section to the International Space Station, also carrying up supplies for the space station. After Discovery's launch, we'll only have 7 shuttle launches left to go. Then we're going to go back to the rocket program. We're going to be using the Ares rockets. Now the Ares 1 will carry up the Orion capsule and have 6 astronauts on board. And the Ares 5 rocket is what we call a heavy lift. It's going to carry up the payload. And one rocket will go off pad A, one will go off pad B. Once they get up to space, they'll connect. They'll either then go to the International Space Station or go to the moon. And they're talking about putting up a substation on the moon. That way the astronauts can go there, do research, and then go from there on to Mars. So there's a lot of things coming in the future. Over on the right, this is your press area where all you do. This is where the firing rooms are located. We now have 4 firing rooms. Now for years, we only had 3. And 2 in the middle. Once they left, they added a 4th one. A brand new state-of-the-art was used last year for the first time. That one is being used all the time now, while the other 3 are converted over for the new Constellation program. Now folks, on the left up here is the road that the transporter travels on, carrying a shuttle to the launch pad. This is a special built road, and we had to dig it out 7 foot deep, filled with crushed stone, and then had to lay asphalt over the stone, smaller stone over asphalt. If you dug down 4 inches middle of these brown areas, you're going to have asphalt like I'm driving on, a piece of hardware in space. Now we let you off over here at the gantry. Take everything with you. Do not leave anything on the bus. When you come off the tower, you're going to get a different bus. We'll continue the tour. You're going into the exhibit hall. You go through a little theater first, and then through the exhibit hall. Come out here, walk to the tower. There's an elevator will take you.
We're on level 4 of a launch pad thing.
Here at the Kennedy Space Center,
That's a shuttle.
we have a facility,
down the ramp,
flight crew equipment facility. We process all the flight crew equipment that the crew uses on board, anything to
This camera is approximately 60 foot long. The reason why it's so large
Looks like a launch pad to me.
is because this is the approximate size of the orbiter.
Check out certain areas of the space station.
Outside of the tank, and as soon as the shuttle starts experiencing all that vibration and the movement starts, all this ice will shake off and cascade down the tank.
It's a long way off. As you can see, it's got the launch ready. The nose of an SRB, solid rocket booster.
When you started the tour, you could see the flag on the side of the building. That flag was 6 miles away. That flag is 209 foot tall, 110 foot wide. Each stripe is 8 foot wide, large enough for this bus to drive on edge, and each star is 6 foot wide, large enough to make a bed. It took 700 gallons of paint to paint that flag last summer, and I'm glad I didn't have to do it.
When I walk into the OPS here, you know, the first thing that I see is the people who work on the orbiter and that get us ready to fly and get us flying safe. There's one thing that they all have in common, and that's their love of the space program and their dedication to getting the shuttles flying, getting them flying safely are what's going to make those future missions safer and more successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you look out my right front window, you'll see these two little square buildings. There are 3 of them all together. Each one of them is a home for one of the orbiters. When they come back from space, they tow them into their home, check them all out, fix whatever's wrong, and then they reprogram it and get it ready for the next time. Different in my day and age, they dropped her in the ocean and drug her home. Today they land her, reuse her. I think that's cool. If you turn around and look at the doors, they're shaped like the tail of the orbiter. Also, if you look way out on the far right, that gray platform, that is one of our crawlers. The second one's right there on the other side. They both weigh 6 million pounds apiece. They both travel 1 mile an hour empty. There's a whole bunch of turtles there. And they are both 40 years old. And this is what hauls everything down to the launch pad. Without the crawlers, nothing around is going to see up here. There's Big Ben.
Slow down. Alligator.
He's the head of our security.
Count continues to go well. We'll be looking for an ignition of those 5 first stage engines at the T-minus 8.9 second mark. We passed T-minus 30, T-minus 25 seconds and counting, and Apollo 13 is go. T-minus 20 seconds, T-minus 20 seconds and counting. 17, guidance release, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence has started. 6, 5,
Deploy for mode 1 Charlie. Mark, you're 1 Charlie. Mark, 1 Charlie. And 13, you're go for staging. Go for staging. 180 at manual.
Altitude now 17 miles, coming up on staging. Jim Lovell reports the inboard engine has shut down as scheduled.
We confirm inboard out 13, you're looking good. Roger.
Coming up on 30 miles altitude.
S2 ignition. Roger.